Oh, I forgot the transition. What's up, my dudes? That was a bit of a bad one. Oh no, you've grown large. Sorry
That's
about the
fine.
late, everyone. Little technical difficulties that we had today, but hopefully that has resolved all for today. This is going to be the last tech issues we have on this episode. Damn tech issues. Welcome back to Sentai Wrap Up, and as you can see, Airlim is liking to resize.
I'm always resizing. You cannot stop me from resizing. I am the
He
resizer.
wants to take over, and he's gone small again. Okay, it's going to be one of
Well,
those. It's one of those streams today. I think one of those streams.
yay! I do love those streams.
Yep. Oh, I've got thingy. Right. Yeah. So yeah, today two things to discuss. Four. Two things to discuss, my
Okay.
dudes. Okay, we've obviously got episode 11, which we managed to find subs of. Wink, wink. But obviously today, our main discussion really that we'll try and get into first is the problem that now fan subs have a dilemma because everyone, and
Yes.
I mean everyone, knows TV-Nihon and Overtime. We're going to mention them now because hell, what's the point now?
Mm.
The source of our Super Sentai, our Kamen Rider, anything we wanted in that regards to subs. I mean, if he hadn't done Ultraman and stuff, just the whole thing, And now
Mm.
we have this problem now where 10 years later, and now that having the cease and desist without any way to get through. What do you think of this, Erlem? Because I know you've already spoken out about it.
I have lots to say about it. I know how it started. I know who said it. I have seen the thing, and pretty much I didn't engage. But I feel like this is two things. Either Toei has decided to go massive ban hammer,
Mhm.
and it gives them an opportunity after seeing all the people to turn around and say stuff like they want to buy it, they want to stream it.
Yeah.
If you simulcast it, then I think people would literally go for it, and I think that's the difference.
Yes.
Um, I think after 10 years, I think that they knew, but I think they didn't kind of, it was one of those things of, hey, we kind of know, but don't tell us. And then when it's like, I really like what you've done, and your stuff's amazing, and it's like, whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah.
Where did you watch that? So I kind of think that's happened, and yeah, what are your thoughts on it?
I think it's just insane that a compliment has led to a closure. Like, it's cut off
Yeah.
Western audience. This is what that baffles me so much. Like, even people like, their toy sales are going to go down in the West. I mean, I don't know how much that really affects them because obviously it's Japan, they've got their own target audience. It's like, I can see it on one side, but as a Western fan, I'm like, no! But yeah,
Yeah. I
it's just one of those things, isn't it? It's just one of those things,
mm,
and it's kind of in a way something that we always could see coming, but
mm,
where it's been going on for so long, everyone just forgot about the possibility. I think that's what it is. We just got complacent because we've enjoyed
mm,
Zenkaiger up until now, obviously, and all those previous seasons before. Like we was in the loop with Japan, which is difficult.
mm,
Like for me, well, for us, should we say, because we don't really get Dino Fury. We have not got Dino Fury yet. We have found ways to watch
yeah.
Dino Fury, which we were not going to say, but
Yeah.
generally we do not have Dino Fury. You guys are lucky. We do not get Dino Fury.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah,
I
it's
think
yeah. Sorry.
sorry. Uh, I think we now live in a day and age where streaming is like the number one source of things to do.
Yes.
Where old TV media is fine. Like if you're watching it on TV, yeah, cool. But the fact is that you can hit more of a wider audience if you stream it. Like if
Yeah.
like obviously with Netflix, if they do the whole thing with season two where it's up and at the same time around the world, like they did with Star Trek Discovery, like
Yeah.
9 a.m. on a Saturday for the UK, but yet it's 5 p.m. or something for it on a Friday. It's that sort of thing that we get to enjoy it, and it's not more like, well, I have to now go find it in a different way.
Yeah.
And I think Toei needs to learn this, but I think Toei might be stuck in its old ways where it's like,
Yeah.
we don't want our stuff getting out there. But yeah, again, you put it on a streaming service, Netflix or whatever, Crunchyroll, whatever. Boom, you'll have people come around and go, I want to sign up X amount of money to stream this because it's such a big thing. And for
Yeah.
10 years, it's like, I didn't realize it'd be going on for 10 years. I thought it'd be going on a lot longer.
Yeah.
Um, But yeah, I just think it's just silly, and the person who did it, fuck them.
I know. I mean, I feel for the guy because obviously he must have not realized, he must have not clocked on. But yeah, it is a big blow for the Western fandom for both Super Sentai and Kamen Rider. So I don't know
Mm.
how we're gonna get out of this one.
We'll
But
find a
yeah,
way. Where there's a will,
but
there is a
where
way.
you said about Crunchyroll, actually, that made me think because obviously Crunchyroll is obviously primarily, you know, subbed content. You know, it's not like dubbed content like Funimation usually does.
Mm.
So really, platform like Crunchyroll would be perfect for Super Sentai and Kamen Rider because they do have live shows on there. Because
Mm.
we've seen Ultraman as one of the some of the shows that are actually on Crunchyroll itself. So with that in
Yeah.
mind, Netflix, probably not. Disney Plus, definitely not. But Crunchyroll seems like the perfect platform for them. I mean,
Yeah.
hopefully someone hears this and they'll be like, yeah, let's do this. But I have no idea what's going to happen in Japan when they realize that there's such a big following for it. I mean,
Yeah.
come on, we've got a whole convention for Power Rangers. Like, I think that's a bit of a telling that people watch both Power Rangers and Kamen Rider. Oh, wait, sorry, yeah,
Yeah.
Power Rangers, Kamen Rider, and Super Sentai. Especially since
Yeah.
yous all know Super Sentai Gokaiger. Now, everyone who's seen Super Mega Force, everyone always compares that to Gokaiger. Even like the basic, like even the fans that are like caught onto the series very, very late, they know about Gokaiger. They don't like Super Mega
Yeah.
Force compared to Gokaiger. It is as plain as day. Super Sentai is loved by us Western fans. I don't understand it, but yeah, it'd be good to hear everyone else. Oh, Blackwing, yo, fellow Sentai fans. Hey, hello, Blackwing. But yeah, yeah,
Hello.
this cease and desist sucks, but it was one hell of a run. Yeah, 10 years. I can't
Yeah.
believe it. I like it. It's weird to think that it's something that slid through the net. Like it's not something that was. I honestly thought they were just like, oh, Western audience, yeah, you can have that. It's fine. But
Mm.
I mean, I guess it does affect them in some way because it's on a TV. It's on a TV station, isn't it? It's not like they're streaming it in any way or something like that.
Mm.
It does matter. So if Japanese folks are getting knowledge of this and watching whenever they want, it does affect their ratings, from what I can
Yeah.
tell. So yeah, I suppose in that way it does kind of suck for them. But yeah, it's a blow.
But
It's a blow.
yeah, it also lines up to the fact is that you can buy the official release, you can buy stuff,
Yeah,
and it's way like yeah, pirating and stuff isn't the way forward,
yeah,
but it's like if say for example, I watch The Flash and I watch Supergirl and all that,
yeah,
and I'll watch it, I'll download it, and I'll go, oh cool, yeah, I'll watch this, and then all of a sudden I'll go out and buy the official medium,
yeah,
and I've bought the Blu-ray. I bought this. I bought that. It's a way to say, hey, I want to, why should I invest money in it
yeah,
and do it? Like, with Super Sentai, there's a whole massive audience now that, there's a massive gap because if fan subs suddenly stop tomorrow, which it looks technically, people can still sub it in what they want.
yeah.
But now Toei's done this. It's more like there's a whole massive gap where Toei could turn around and go, okay, well, where's your money? Like, okay, we'll
Exactly.
put
Yeah,
something on a streaming service, and if we get 50,000 people watching, then we'll continue this.
yeah,
And then people go, do you know what? Yeah,
yeah.
they see an increase in sales, and boom,
Honestly, Toei,
that's
if you're
it.
gonna have a cease and desist, have an alternative method in place. Otherwise, it causes panic. It causes problems. Oh, Blackwing made a good
Yeah,
point. Gokaiger was a gateway for a lot of people. That is true. Yeah,
yeah,
everyone.
exactly.
I actually didn't really discover Super Sentai until Power Rangers Samurai, or literally
Mm.
the year before, because obviously they had that one year where there was no Power Ranger season whatsoever, and most people forget about that. At least for in terms of the UK, I don't know what it's like for the US, but yeah, you had RPM, and then there was nothing for a year, and then there was Samurai, and during that
Mm.
period, that's when I found out about Shinkenger, and that's when I finally
Yeah,
clocked in. Oh, it comes from Japan first, and then that's when I was thinking, oh, I hope Shinkenger gets turned into a Power Rangers, which it did. So,
it did.
but
Yeah,
one point I
yeah,
will make though is I obviously for the UK it's a lot harder for Super Sentai and stuff because that content is always difficult. But that doesn't stop me from getting these DVDs region
yeah.
locked, but I still find a way to watch them.
Yeah, I think that's also a good way is like look at how Shout Factory's done it. you've gone out and bought Kaka Ranger,
Yeah.
Go-Go 5, and I don't know what the last one is because I didn't
Oh
see it.
yeah,
You didn't
I've got
show me.
I've got up until Go-Go 5. So apart from Jetman, I've got obviously Ranger all the way down to Go-Go 5. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So
that's just a couple of
it's
them I've got there. But
yeah,
Shout Factory is great for that. Region locked obviously is a problem, but that's why we have DVD players that go into computers. We can get past that way.
exactly. But that shows like very interesting that you'd go out and buy previous like seasons, and if Shout Factory still had the license to distribute it, but that lies with Hasbro.
Yeah,
But the thing is, there is a whole thing where people want it. Like, I'm not a huge fan of say Kira Major, but I would buy the series. At some point, I might go, do you know what? I kind of really want to see what that
yeah,
series is like. Or Gokaiger, where if I could buy the Blu-rays, if they weren't so goddamn expensive, they are really expensive in
yeah,
Japan. But it's more of a thing of I'd put my money where my mouth is. I'd be like, I'm buying this. And you said earlier with the toys, I think the toy sales will suffer. Like
yes,
most of the time is when you look at it, like, oh, I want the new changer. What does it do? I don't know.
yeah,
Well, I'm not going to really kind of buy it because I don't know what it sounds like.
yeah,
I don't know its features, and it has a ripple effect. Like I know Sentai's dropped down in from 2017 downwards from how many like billion yen it's got.
exactly, yeah.
Like it was something like 22 billion. Now it's like 6.2, and it's like holy crap! Like
Yeah.
it's just dropped down like
Even
so much over time.
even their premium stuff like the Russell Ken that was released, which the Memorial Edition, which was the full size one, that definitely wouldn't have
Mm,
sold as well if it wasn't for the fact that people watched Rue Soldier. Otherwise, it would have been
yeah.
like a large amount of money for nothing. And yeah, like you
Mm,
said, people would watch the show before they get in the changer because it's one of those things where it's like I get to figure out how to use it, and so yeah,
yeah.
it's a blow, but yeah, let's get
Mm.
back to Zenkaiger though, which is an important fact I should mention. The 45th anniversary. Could they not wait another year, just one more year,
Yeah.
just
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 wait it out.
after the anniversary season? It couldn't come at a worse time. But yeah,
Yeah.
this episode 11. I don't know who has actually been able to watch it, but for those who have, um, I'm hoping those who haven't will still join us now and discuss it with us
Mm.
from what they possibly have seen. But generally, it was a filler episode, wasn't it, Mark?
Yeah,
Yeah.
to be fair, I could literally give you the rating right now. I can give you my favorite points because it was such a bad
Yeah.
episode.
So
Like,
generally, it was it was kind of actually primarily about Katana and Ricky, wasn't it? Yeah.
Ricky.
So
Yeah.
generally, it was a game of tag going out of sorts with Tag World. Not the best one, but it's not bad. But I think it was interesting because it kind of threw me when I first saw the preview because it was
Mm.
like an Oni mask, isn't it? So I thought it was gonna be
Yeah.
like a demon related thing or something like that. But no, it was just like a decorated version of Tag, which I thought was curious.
Yeah. It was the entire episode to me. It was so like if you watch it without subs, it's really cool
Yeah,
because it is one of those things where it's like you don't know what's going on. But when you watch it with subs, it's like
yeah,
this episode's boring.
yeah.
And I feel like it's only now focusing on two Kaiser, and I didn't like it. Now I'm going to go. I don't want to go into a rant. I was going to say my favorite parts are. I'm going to wait, but
We'll get back to that.
I can wait.
But yeah, I think it is all worth saying as well. Is as much as I like. I mean, we might as well say it now, but over time, like great subs. I can never had a really problem with it. But TV-Nihon, he added effects. They had colors and different kind of things that went with the show. The amount of effort these people put into
Mm.
it. I'd like to see you do that, Toy. Like, I'm
They
sorry,
won't.
but
That's
I
the
had
thing.
to say it. I had to say it. Like,
Yeah.
they done so much effort with it. That's why I always like to have. I like to watch. I liked Overtime because they got it out so quickly, and it was so great to have that. But then TV9 went one step further, and it's like the subtitles were part of the show, like literally,
Mm.
because they were embedded with all of these different effects. And like, props to you guys because we can never say it before. Might as well say it now. But you guys were really done brilliant with that. It was fantastic to see. But yeah, as for this episode though, I'm glad we got to see more of Flint. Um, it's
Yeah, we did.
it seems like it was kind of like it was kind of involving Kaito, but wasn't about Kaito.
It, it's gone down to the thing where I don't see it as I'm starting to see it more as two Kaiser than I do with like Kaito and stuff, where it's more kind of like two Kaiser's the main person of the show now,
Yeah.
and Kaito and the rest are the cheerleaders,
Yes.
the groupies of the thing, where they've dressed up like their favorite characters and they're on the sidelines cheering. And I don't like it. I think that, I mean, this is again episode 11, so I'm hoping that they're getting rid of this particular thing right now,
Yeah.
rather than like much later on. If they keep this going for like say episode 20, I think I'm just going to be I'm bored of it. I'm bored now. It's
Yeah, yeah. But you say that, but there was points to it. Like, for one thing, we got to see a new debut. Not just talking about the villain of this thing, which is always different in every episode, but we got to see more of a little bit of a snippet of what the Zenkai O's vehicle form was like, and we see more of Katana and Ricky in action. But then we've also had the debut of new gears as well, because I honestly thought that the gears were stolen, and that's what it seemed like, that Flint had stolen the gears from Kaito in some way. But no, it turns out it was just the case that she created them. I think it's insane, and they work with two Kaiser, as you'd expect, Six Rangers.
Yeah. I like that. I knew it was going to happen. I knew it was.
Yeah.
It had to, because if it didn't, I'd be very surprised. But it was fun. Like I thought that she stole them as well. Like it would be one of those things where it's like, oh, where is it? Where is it? And it's like, we've got them. So it just means that they have every single gear. And I think that they kind of showed it when they first turned up, where they broke into the bad guy's base and was just like, there's all the data. So they stole it. They made it, and she made them very, very quickly. So it'd be very interesting to see if these powers get used quite a bit. And I'd love the fact that they're all going to be Six Rangers. They're not going to be like, oh, here's the team, which I think makes it even better.
But they make a point in this episode when it was like, oh, they pirated the data. I would have liked to see if that actually happened. Like, Flint finds the location of their secret base and steals the information. Like, even just like a little snippet of something that could have suggested that would have been nice. Because really, did she steal the stuff, or did she just already have prior knowledge that allowed her to create it? That's what I'm thinking.
I kind of think that when they broke into the base and they stole all the information, because they explained that they made the two Kaiser gear. So you don't know how far it is when they broke into it, because we don't know when they went to Piratopia. It could have been something like 5 years ago, and they've kind of created it and gone, oh, these are the discs, these are the gears, and they've done like that. So she could easily go, right, like, I've quickly made this, because she made them in let's say 10 minutes. So she could have just downloaded the data, gone, like, these are all the Sentais, download, and it's gone straight into the gears.
That's true. Well, I mean, in terms of the episode, I think times cut short. Like, it is longer than it actually is in the show, but obviously, they snip it out. But it does seem like she made them pretty quickly, so she must have had that information. But let's go through the debuts of this particular episode. So here we go, and yours change size again. Oh god, not one of those days. It's alright. So first, obviously, we've got the image here of our villain of this one. So this is what was it, Tag World? Is that generally what it was called?
Yeah, he was called Tag World. I think it's again, they all have really interesting powers.
Yes.
I think I didn't like when Kaito and Vron were going to run up and hit him, and it's like, you've just seen what I can do. I can tag you, and they're like, oh crap, yeah, we've got this, and then they use the weapons. I'm just like,
I kind of like how much thought you had to have into how his abilities actually work. Like, obviously, two Kaiser figured it out. I must have talked to Flint, because Flint seemed to have had a brainwave to what the way to defeat him was. So I thought that was cool.
I mean, it also kind of reminded me how much of COVID this could have done, because it was tag. It's in spreads to other people, and I generally was like, is this a metaphor, or is this kind of just a game of tag But I was generally like, this has got to be a metaphor
Yeah.
for something because it's such a different thing.
But yeah, sorry.
Um,
What did you think of his actual appearance?
is he looks okay? Like I generally kind of like it. He's one of the better looking bad guys right
Yeah, it
now.
kind of
He's
works in
not,
it, doesn't it?
yeah. But I generally kind of thought that he would be something different. It would be more kind of. He doesn't look like a tag type person.
Yeah.
Um, so it looks like he could be something like a blaster type guy. Um, but it's an interesting concept. We now know this is an official silly Sentai. It's not it's
Well,
not
yeah, to a
a good
degree.
one.
I mean, it is. Yeah, I suppose you're right. It is kind of more silly than most. I mean, it
Mm.
does have some serious elements to it, but I imagine that's something that will come in a bit later. But I do like
Yeah.
how this Toji Tendo is like is they always try to keep the robot form generally and then add the decoratives to it. Probably good for costumes, but I think it's good
Yeah.
that they have some recurring theme into it because
Mm.
even their attacks are mechanical, even though their particular world is like has like different powers related to it. So I think it's pretty good. But what did you think when we had two giants to fight?
I did at first I was like, oh, is this going to be a giant? I just didn't know. Like, it's interesting. It's like, why would you play tag with the other person? I don't even know what happened. Thinking about it, like, I don't know what happened to the other one. Did it just blow up
Yeah,
originally,
so
or okay?
the idea was when it became a massive, when it became its mech form and the robot got taken over in that form, his ability to tag turned into a bomb. So whoever was it
Mm,
would explode. So that was the
yeah.
fun part of this particular mecha battle that they had going on here. So
Mm,
yeah,
uh, yeah, it wasn't too bad.
yeah.
I think
I
that's the
think
main thing.
I
It
think
wasn't.
it was a little bit of fun, and they had a little fun with a little debut because obviously,
Mm,
two Kaio is a whole load more to it, and that's going to be seen in the next episode. But yeah,
yeah.
they wanted to space out the different attributes of this particular mecha, didn't they?
Mm.
But yeah, so the actual mecha itself, we get to see it in action. What did you think of it in as like in its general vehicle form as the ship?
I don't know. I just generally kind of thought it hasn't kind of gotten to me. Yeah, I haven't. I want to see it fully. It was just ship. I'm also waiting for the image
Yeah,
to pop up as well. Um, but yeah, like obviously with Ricky and Cortana, I thought it was fine. Like it's slowly getting into because obviously the toys are releasing next
yeah.
month, so it's more kind of slowly bring it. It looks like a ship, so generally it looks
Yeah,
okay.
I think
Um,
it's great until you look at the bottom part of the bike because because where the
mm,
parts because the whole top part is like it's got perfect symmetry, but the bottom part not so much. That's the only thing I don't like about it.
yeah.
Plus, also it has more effects when it's not in action than when it is in action because obviously it had all those different lights and detailing on it. So I think that we're
Mm,
missing that a bit while it's in in this kind of combat situation. Do you agree with that?
yeah. Yeah. I mean, the wheel thing is a bit weird,
Yeah.
but I'm guessing that's it'll be very interesting to see how it kind of forms transformation wise, or is it something different? But yeah, like I agree with that.
Yeah. So also we have the separation where we see Katana and Ricky in
Ricky.
combat with the separated form of these two, and I believe they actually have the names Cross Skyo and Crawlino. What did you
Mm.
think of these formations?
Um, if they're just the bikes, then yeah, they weren't too bad.
Yeah.
Gotta see the image.
Sorry.
I generally can't like for me, like yeah, like they're not bad, but I generally wouldn't kind of like I don't know. It feels like those like the old toys of Bandai where it's just like here's the Red Ranger with a motorbike, where it's like, but Jason never had a motorbike in
Yeah.
well, no, he did, but that sort of thing where you go like, but that never happened. Why is Tommy riding one? Um, so yeah, like I just feel like this is just a way of sending stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've never really kind of thought of it. I'm not a big fan of it.
Well,
I want
yeah.
to see mech.
The thing about this one is I love when it's combined like normally. I love the crocodile part more than that bottom part because of the line of symmetry.
Mm.
But in this form, I actually like the bike more than I like the croc.
Yeah.
Mainly for two reasons. One, the crocodile part doesn't seem to be used much, and it's like a weird ship. If Katana was in the middle of it, it would make more sense. But also, like the weapons, the weapon for Tricky actually gets used. The Gatling gun's on the
Mm.
front, but the sword doesn't get used at all, and I feel like it's a bit of a miss. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like a hit and a miss. That's the best way to put it. Would you agree with
Mm.
that?
Yeah, I think obviously when we see how it transforms, I think you're going to see the sword used a lot more
Yeah.
because obviously that will be the main thing. This is, I say, this is the very beginning part where it's more to kind of get you used to it and say, hey, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
So I then imagine very, very soon that you'll see them use the sword a lot more. And then that's going to be the main thing. The gun will be like a kind of ultimate finisher where the sword will just be used for kind of attacking and stuff like that.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah. Right. Along with that, we actually see how Two Kaiser pilots this, and it's interesting that even I mean, usually it's Ranger forms Megazord in use, but yeah, it's still being used as like a location for Flint to even be in.
Mm.
So yeah, what did you think of the way that um, Two Kaiser is stationed and uses his mecha?
It would make sense to use it like that because you have, it's the head of the ship, and you saw it obviously when Kaito went aboard. Like, there's the helm, so I instantly went, yeah, that's where they're going to do it.
Mhm.
I like the fact that they're using the morpher to kind of
It's in
pilot
a
it. I
good
was going to say
position, isn't it, as well? Yeah.
yeah. I just kind of wish it was bigger because it feels
Mm.
like you grab the toy and there isn't, and there. I think I would have preferred like the wheel to be like a bit bigger, or a completely different one where they control it, and basically they plug the morpher into the side,
Yeah, I would have
and it
liked
kind
it
of
to be
works.
like the small one goes into the big one and just sort of aligns to make it a bigger wheel.
Mm,
That would have been better. I agree.
yeah.
But yeah, no,
Um,
effect wise, like in terms of this picture, it looks great. Like he does look really nice. But yeah, you're right. The steering wheel could be more of a. It could have been a bit better. Like even the pipe
yeah.
parts could have extended out. But yeah,
Yeah. I generally kind of think that one of those big brown wheels that we saw. Like, I know we
yeah.
saw it in Good Kaija, but one of those like overly massive wheels.
Mhm.
That's how I would imagine because it would have fit perfectly in with the criteria
Yeah.
as well as the aesthetics of the ship.
Okay, well,
But
let's move on to the special screen because that's where we've got a few other things. And once again, you've decided to shrink. Well, increase in size.
yeah, huzzah!
Oh,
I'm everywhere.
no, we don't want that. We don't want you to completely go. Stop fighting me. There we go. So yeah, here we have a picture of the first team that we see being represented in this show, which is our Go Seija. What did you think
Yeah,
of the special ability involved with that? Because it was basically just the was it the Ten Soda, I believe it's called. Invoking device that allows the cards to be used. What do
yeah.
you think of that?
Um, it's fine.
Oh,
I
hey
generally
Adam.
thought,
Hi Vanessa.
yeah,
Sorry, just
yeah.
Sentai, Sentai,
It's
Sentai.
Yeah. I generally thought, yeah, that's how it would be. Every single time we see Ghost Age's power, it's always the morpher or an ability.
Yeah.
So using the wind one, is absolutely fine to me. What did you think?
Yeah, I think that I mean it's good that it's kind of reusing stuff from Super Sentai in the past, and it's great to see
Mhm.
this particular ability. However, sometimes when they use like specials like this from that represent a team, they're not fully representing a team. Like it makes sense for
Mm.
Two Kaiser because he represents six Rangers, so you'd only see something that's specific to them. But when it's a whole team, it just seems like it could
Mm.
have been bigger. Do you agree?
Yeah. Yeah, I think what we'll probably see is like if they use the Ghost Age power later on,
Yeah.
and I reckon they'll all get them. So you'll see every single ability used: wind, fire, earth, water, and stuff like that. I think that's what you'll see when it comes to it. I think near probably the end of the series, you're going to have a huge battle where it's just going to be gear use, gear use, gear used.
Yeah.
And I think you'll see a lot more of these powers used like one more time.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to wait and see if it's represented a bit better. But we also see two Kaiser obviously using the gears that were created by Flint. So first we had the representation of Geki Rangers. The Rhino Rangers. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
simply call him because I do apologize. Sometimes names for the Sentai, so many of them, and they've all sometimes got specific names. It just sort of goes over my head. But what did you think of the representation of this sixth ranger fifth ranger in this case, of Geki Ranger?
I generally thought it'd be a thing, but I wanted him to, when you hit him, you're coming down from a very like you're free falling basically,
Yeah.
so you would have picked up speed. Him using the power, I wanted him to crack the head sculpt because it just feels like, bop.
Yeah.
Right. What was that? That was a tickle.
Yeah.
So if you're coming in that fast and you've got that power, it to be a like crack.
Yeah.
The whole thing
Yeah. Sure.
completely.
Because he was representing power, really, wasn't he? But I do like the reuse of the prop. That was the plus side. You know, it kind of made sense for them to use this because of the hand and involving tag. So yeah, it was a good weapon. But yeah, let's move on to the actual image of all of the ones that were created, shall I say, by the Flint. So the only thing I think is odd is obviously these gears are representing each of the ranger teams. They're showing the Red Rangers, but they're created to represent and be used by 4 sixth rangers for 2 Kaiser. That's the only thing that's a bit weird about it, the fact that Flint made them that way, but I suppose it just makes sense for the toys. But I wonder if that Pato Ranger gear actually gives the Patoran X, because because it's one of those things where it's like if there's 2 teams involved, it's like it could be a flip of a coin. But yeah, it's interesting to see these gears, but whether or not they're going to be representing the sixth range as well is another thing entirely. Because I think Lupin and Patoran X is just one of those things where it's a bit of a blur, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that if they're going to use Null, then it'll be whatever the power that he wielded. So if you had like the big cannon thing that sits on, that will be one that they use. On the Lupin side, if you use something else, then that will be a thing. I reckon that's what you'll see. Like Rear Soldier, I don't know if there was there was the Gold Ranger, so you'll see that with Cocker Ranger. I don't know who the Sixth Ranger was for Cocker Ranger.
That was actually was it Ninja Man? Ninja for Power Rangers fans.
Yeah.
So he was technically the Sixth Ranger of that season per se.
So you'll probably see what his ability. So I'm guessing it'll be flying on a cloud or the ninja like using the sword. Then you've got the whatever. The wild one, Zero Oja. So obviously that will be the Rhino guy. Obviously Silver, Mega Ranger, and then obviously Gold Ranger, and then that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see because now you have access to all of the abilities. What will we see? And I think that's going to be very interesting. Will he use them against Kaito though?
Yeah, that is another question. Certain ones like Go-Go 5 are never going to be used by 2 Kaiser for obvious reason. But obviously they might be representing other things, so...
What happens, what would you do, is if he used the Go-Go 5 and Titanium Ranger came out?
Oh, that's a good point. Well, we'll get into other stuff like that later. We also seen Shuriken, I believe it's Shurikenja from Hurricaneja, using the obviously the baseball technique. Now it's a bit different for us, obviously, for Power Rangers fans, because this wasn't. I don't think this was a move that was really signified, because obviously it was supposed to represent samurai. So, what did you think of the representation of this Super Sentai version, ranger.
It's the same sort of attack. Like he used it in Hurricane so I was just like, yeah, I assumed as soon as he used that one, that was going to be his main attack because he's in the baseball form. He hasn't got a shield on, so I was like, yep, you're going to use the baseball attack. One thing I didn't like though is when you saw the green screen version and it looked like Two Kaiser wasn't blended in properly. It looked like he was a lot smaller than most. So apart from that, it wasn't bad. But I knew exactly what they were going to go with it.
Yeah. But I think the attack was pretty good though, because like it was a good representation of that particular ranger, because that's what he's known for most. That baseball bat technique.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's obviously went over our heads and been the Power Rangers. It just seems like we're lost in translation. But yeah, it was pretty good, pretty good, pretty good. Okay. I also like how we actually have our favorite Sek-chan actually pointing out that these are actually Sixth Rangers. I thought that was worth mentioning and showing because, it even says the word extra warrior. So yeah, I think that highlights just what Ninja Man is for Kaku Ranger and stuff like that. So by saying extra warrior, obviously we know that in Ginga Man you're going to have I believe he's
Magna Defender.
Yeah, well, Magna Defender, Black Knight, I believe he's also called. But yeah, that I think that's what they're trying to get at. That Two Kaiser is representing of extra warriors. So
yeah,
yeah,
I reckon that.
Okay, let's move on to favorite moments, and we'll try and get through this quickly because I've got too many images. And once again, you want to be huge.
That's fine. I do not mind. Just let it do its thing.
Okay, don't worry, I'll sort that out. So, first image, obviously, we have generally the fight between Katana and Ricky over the buns. What did you think of that particular occurrence?
I think it was basically set up for story.
Yeah.
It was more, this is what they did. This is what happened in this world. They always argue because they want to be like Big Brother. That's all it was. It was basically set up. And to be fair, if you're going to go for either cream or sweet buns, it's buns with icing. That's what you go for. Not filled with stuff.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I agree with Kaito though. Just have both. Like, I'm greedy, so I would go for that. But yeah, I don't know about you. But yeah. I liked how the visually showed how it would work for this particular creature. Like they showed a representation of how tagging tagging world would spread. Like you said though, it was a good representation of Corona in a way too. So yeah, quite interesting. That is quite interesting. Did you think the way it sort of explained was actually a good little touch?
It was just throwaway lines. It was like, here's what's happened. This is what they're like. Boom. So you know exactly. For this representation, like it's more one person does it. Now I just want to know how many people they got inside those black suits.
Yeah.
Or did they just
redo
it multiple?
Redone,
Did they get?
Yeah. We got another image here as well where we see, I don't know what it is about their base, but I just like the looks of it in this particular scene. I mean, we've probably seen it like this before, but I don't know. It just looks really, really good. I like the detailing around the room. I noticed they have a thing for like single platform, that's just flying in the air. Have you noticed that? Like in every single base, in every location, it's just a one little platform that's just hovering in position. I think it's a reoccurring thing, and I'm not too sure if I like it.
I can give you the explanation on why they've done that, on why it is. It's because it's a massive green screen room.
Yeah, we can only use a section.
Yeah.
The camera just makes it look far.
Yeah.
We just shrunk you down.
I get what you mean. I think it's the best way that they can get around it because if you've looked at other bases for bad guys, I think you see a lot more.
Yeah, there is a lot more. They actually have a set built. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think they've just gone green screen room, stick it in. They probably use the same thing as like with Sek-chan and that in the computer room. It's like move the wall out the way and put in the desk.
Right, and we also noticed that we had when the tagging all started to occur with Katana and Ricky, and then everyone else getting infected and passing it on. Is it just me, or did this I mean, we've had Gokaiger, so you'd think they would have this down. But the way that he swung in, it seemed a little off to me. Like when Flint was taken up by her brother. Um,
Mm,
but yeah, Zox, like the way Zox came in and just like picked her up, the transition of that looked off.
yeah,
Like I think I managed to get a decent image of it that made it look good, but just the way it flowed in, it didn't look right.
yeah. I think they didn't press F9 in After Effects where it kind of smooths out the transition of the frames. I think yeah, it is one of those things where he's meant to come and swoop in and like pick her up. Maybe it's the placement, so she's moved forward a tiny bit where it's meant to be in a line. Where if she stood back a step, then obviously it's a swoop motion.
Yeah,
I just went, oh, that's cool. She's come to pick him up.
yeah,
That's all. Or he's picking her up,
yeah. At least it
and that was
works.
it.
Yeah.
Mm,
So we also have when I thought this was a bit harsh, but funny at the same time. It made so much sense. But Gowon shooting Vroon as he was going to tag, and it was just a complete interrupt, and it made
yeah.
sense. But his reaction, Vroon's fine. He's a Kikanoid. It's fine.
Yeah, it was more like, oh,
Yeah, it's like I mean, it's
that
like he's
gal.
sticking to his character, but he's changed a little bit. That's what it seems like to
Mm.
me. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, they're probably going to come into their own very soon, so you'll see that the more personality of them all. But it was the best way. He's about to get there, so rather than push him out the way, so you get tagged, shoot him, just
Yeah.
do it.
What?
And maybe that's because they didn't follow on from what they did. Oops, this gun went off. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's right. Shoot through him.
What?
Shoot him.
What do you think of the magic of Magian in this? Because I think it seemed like she had more, like a magic seemed more useful and more, magical in this. Like just
Yeah.
it seems very Magi Ranger the way she had this slingshot appear and them to just get launched off. I thought that was a good moment.
Yeah. I think it's just those same things that random Sentai things happen. So like if they jump up high in the air, then you see them with giant heads and going like whoa type thing.
Yeah.
So when these sorts of things pop in, I'm never really bothered about it. I think it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, but one thing I will say is, although Ricky and Katana are obviously digital renditions, and they're super deformed, as they say, from
Mm.
ST-Topia, but the way they put them in this show is really really good. Like as special effects go, like it is consistent. It looks as they want to be, and yeah, I really quite like their appearance.
I hate them. I really. I think it's because they're not
Sorry,
blended
go
in
back.
properly.
Yeah,
So when they've got the actual models and they're doing the whole like
yeah,
that's absolutely fine. I think that's great because it blends in. It's a physical thing.
yeah.
But then I think it's when you've got them as 3D models, they're too bright. So if you've got a dark background, it's here is a bright, these two bright characters.
Yeah.
But then when they walk off, they just go. It doesn't flow,
Yeah.
and that's what irritates me about
It's
them.
more like they're from Lego World, really.
Yeah.
But
So it's more
yeah.
like,
I think this is a hilarious part where we have them all back at base trying to come up with a scheme. Imagine's the focus, and Vroon's just standing there like, you should have known I was coming.
yeah, it's like he goes like, oh yeah, I know you're here, so I'm going to be here. You're all here,
Yeah.
and I was like, if you changed it to be a bit horror, like put horror music in, dumbed down the thing, it would be quite scary,
Yeah.
and I kind of liked it, but you kind of think, why do we go back to the base? You'd want them to go further afield a bit.
Yeah. But it was
You
smart.
know,
It was good. It was fun, and it was like intelligent. It's like he's pointing out an obvious mistake. It's like he was laughing at the writers as well.
yeah. And obviously the way he gets Majin as well,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, I got tagged, and it's like, no, and then right, and I've got to go tag you all.
Yeah. Right. Oh,
So
the
yeah,
images
it
are going
was.
in a weird order again. So yeah, we have now when Flint had the gear that Kaito was showing her, which inspired her to make the other gears. I honestly thought in that moment Flint was like, mine.
Yeah, it did kind of lead up to something like that, but then I think that maybe she was like, oh, I've just seen how this works, because I think that they could do it to them as well. So it's more like,
Yeah.
I'm giving you
Sorry,
that back, but I
through
could
the
steal
images
it.
again. I'm sorry. I just got that mixed up. Yep. Go on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's like, I could steal this, but I'm going to give it back to you because you need it to protect me.
Yeah.
But maybe she's yeah, okay, figure that out. I'm going to go make my own now.
Yeah, but yeah, maybe
I'm
she
going to
already
go
had the
make.
technology. Sorry, she already kind of guessed because she already had the gears that were made by that her by herself to make two Kaiser. So yeah, maybe she didn't really need much information. She just was like, "Oh, you made this too," sort of thing. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I can make this.
But yeah, I thought the change was quite humorous though that they had. That was good.
Mm,
But
yeah,
yeah, and the whole sort of pose as well that they're doing, it was a bit broken. I thought that was hilarious too.
I I like that. I think that's probably one of the better parts of this
Yeah.
episode, where it was just we're still gonna morph. We still have to say our morphing phrases, and we have to do the pose. And then even the background where you have the thing that comes down normally when
Yeah.
they pose was kind of wonky. I didn't know where to go. I liked it. I think that part and any part with Flint in
Yeah.
was possibly the best parts of the episode, as well as the
Yeah.
six stranger ones.
Oh, sorry, I'm flicking over again. I thought the finisher was beautiful in this. Did you like the finisher in this?
Yeah, I felt like I didn't even realize that the thing where it drops down actually has, and it's on Majin and Vrun's side that had the face thing.
Mm.
That's really cool. I never noticed that before. I like attention to detail like that. Yeah, like the finisher, like it felt like two Kaiser was about to run in or an attack,
Yeah.
and then suddenly this massive blast comes from
Yeah.
nowhere. So you're like,
It
oh,
looks so good. I love the sound effect. It's like, like it's like a
yeah.
distorted effect. I love it. It was really cool.
Mm.
I really loved that. But yeah, seeing facial expressions because you see it when they're in the vehicle form. I like how they've used. They're not just basic models with basic expressions, especially for obviously our Kikanoid Rangers, Kikanoids, because Gowon and Juran, like you have these slight face changes, but not to the extent that Katana and Ricky have. Like they seem to
Yeah.
have the facial expression changes that I thought they would have. You know what I mean?
Mm. Yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, the shock on their faces when they're like, "Oh, too much of things."
Yeah.
That was
I
great.
know. I think the models just need to be blended in better,
Yeah.
darkened, maybe a tiny bit of a weathered look.
Yeah.
I don't like. I hate stuff like this at times. Like, get them out of here,
Yeah.
throw them in the bin.
Or running over a bit here. Sorry. So yeah. One final thing I just wanted to show is just how great the fight was because they ended up seeming like they're fighting again, but it was all a plan, wasn't it? But the
Yeah.
thing back and forth about the tag, I thought it was hilarious. Did you enjoy that part too?
I knew exactly what they were doing,
Yeah.
but again, it's one of those things. As if that's what they're going to do all the time, it's going to annoy the crap out of me constantly.
Yeah. But that tag part was great.
Yeah, the tag part's fine because he was obviously exchanging it, so
So,
it makes the bad guy drop his guard.
tag.
But I really hope this isn't in every single episode because it
No,
would
yeah.
irritate the crap out of
Yeah, it
me.
will change. But yeah, the explosion as well when they were expecting it, that was great.
Mm.
Obviously I've got it a little bit out of order here, but we had Kaito doing that, and then just that image which I'm trying to get back to now of two Kaiser and Flint actually
Yeah.
doing it
Oh
too.
yeah, like
That was great.
it. I did like everyone's like, oh,
Just like they're like, just
but
yep, that's
that's
happening.
so yeah. Like, how could you do it with through the helmet? Like, is it thing? But yeah, I did. To be fair, little parts like that do make me kind of
Yeah.
like giggle type thing. So
Yeah.
I was pretty much okay with it.
Right. Last thing we obviously got is the little preview of our mecha that we're going to be seeing in the next episode. Now, we're not going to go through all that this episode. We're going to save that for next. But
Yeah.
I'm glad that we've got like a little preview of what Iljarud has been planning with Stacy, and even a little preview. We see the mecha that he's going to be in. The interesting part is going to be how it's used and what abilities it has, but we'll get to that soon.
Yeah.
Okay, so episode review. What would we say this was?
A 2.
A 2. Oh,
A
yeah.
2. I was tempted between 1 or 2, but I'll give it a 2 for the little thing. But yeah, 2.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you know what? I feel like it could have been a 3 if there was a little bit more of like I'm gonna give it I'm gonna give it a
You
3. Would
gave
you
it a
say it's
3?
3? Yeah, because
No.
of the images they had and going back to Ricky and Katana and the realization for Flint, like there was story elements to it and character development. So
Mm.
it feels harsh if we just have it as a 2, because it's not just a few debuts and the fighting and that's it. There was a little bit of character development in it involving Flint, the twin brothers, and with Kaito chatting with Flint. So yeah, I think it's like a safe 3. 3
If
gears.
you want to give it 3, that's absolutely fine.
As long as
I
you're
still
comfortable
think
with
it's
it.
a 2. I'm comfortable with it. I
Yeah.
still think it's a 2. But if you want to give it a 3, I do not mind.
Okay. Yeah. Everyone else, you've got to let us know what you think of this particular episode and your particular reviews of it. So I think it's a 3.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know there's going to be an episode at some point. No, it's just going to be a 2. But yeah, for now, that's all of everything for this particular time with us on a Sentai wrap up. Hopefully we can find a way to watch the next episode, but we'll just have to wait and see at the end. Flynn, what's the best thing about it?
That's the only part. Still a 2.
Oh, hi Larry. Sorry, we'd see you in the last minute. So yeah, I think that is everything. Now, that's just hope that we can see the next episode. If not, we'll go try and go through as much information as we can, as well as images of it, even if we can't actually have it in subbed. Well, I'm sure we'll find a way to watch it. So, yeah, that covers everything for today. So, thank you so much, Mark. Airlim. You know, well, I'll put it in Mark in brackets because obviously Mark on Ranger wrap up and then Airlim here. It just feels like we're not giving you justice. So, we'll put that in at some point. But yes, where can we find you on social media, Airlim?
Airlim on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, and Mainstream Live on Twitter. How about you? Where can we find you?
You can always find me at Henshin Asset on both Instagram and Twitter. So, yeah, thank you, my dudes. We'll hope to see you next time. And thank you, of course, again, Airlim. Let's hope the next episode's going to be great. Well. And hopefully you can still get those subs. Okay, see you next time.
I need a 5 episode.
Right, see you next time, guys. Bye.
Bye.